Welcome to this explainer. You know, we all do it dozens of times a day. We just turn a handle and clean, clear water magically flows out. But how often do you actually stop to think about the incredible journey that water takes just to reach your glass? Today, we are going deep under the surface. We're going to explore the hidden mechanics, some pretty unexpected health hazards, and the very real financial costs tied to our daily drinking water. We are literally pulling back the curtain on a system most of us take completely for granted.
But before we get into the nuts and bolts, let me draw a line in the sand and ask you this. Do you know exactly where your water utility's responsibility ends and yours begins? It's kind of a provocative question, I know. But if a pipe suddenly bursts under your front lawn, or if your water starts testing positive for heavy metals, the answer to that question suddenly becomes the absolute most important, and potentially the most expensive thing in your life. The stakes here are highly personal, and knowing the boundaries of your own infrastructure is really the very first step to protecting your home.
So, to unpack this, we've structured today's explainer into 5 key areas. First, we'll look at the hidden pipe problem. Second, who pays for broken pipes. Third, teaming up for efficiency. Fourth, decoding your water bill. And finally, smart conservation and rules.
Let's start with Section 1, the hidden pipe problem, uncovering the dangers beneath our feet.
Okay, let's dive right in. What exactly are lead service lines, or LSLs? Well, these are the underground pipes that connect your private home plumbing system directly to the big public water mains out in the street. Now, because these were primarily installed before the 1980s, these aging pipes can actually leach poisonous lead into your drinking water as they slowly corrode over time. And what's truly terrifying about this, and a huge reason it's so dangerous, is that lead in drinking water is completely odorless, colorless, and tasteless. There is literally no way to tell it's there just by looking at a glass of water. And since these lines are buried underground, and records from decades ago are notoriously incomplete, finding them requires a really proactive property-by-property assessment.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is how we actually get rid of this hazard. The government's response has been pretty stringent through the EPA's Get the Lead Out initiative. Under the 1991 lead and copper rule, the maximum contaminant level goal, which is essentially the ideal safety target, is strictly 0. The EPA's stance is that absolutely no level of lead is safe. None. However, the action level, which is the threshold where utilities are legally required to step in and notify the public, is set at 15 parts per billion. And with the 2021 revisions to this rule, the burden heavily targets identifying those customer-owned LSLs we just talked about. So it's no longer just the utilities problem, right? Utilities and customers actually have to coordinate now in a massive shared effort to map and replace these lines.
Now, if you suspect you might have older plumbing, here are some super actionable steps you can take today until you get your water properly tested. Step 1. Flush your taps. If water has been sitting stagnant in your pipes for several hours, run it for 30 seconds to about 2 minutes until it gets noticeably cold. Step 2 is absolutely critical. Never use hot tap water for drinking, cooking, or especially for making baby formula. Hot water actually dissolves and carries lead way more easily than cold water. And here is a massive mythbuster for you. Do not try to boil your water thinking it's going to remove the lead. Actually, scratch that. It makes it worse. Boiling water just evaporates the water itself and increases the concentration of the lead left behind. And finally, step 3, just use a properly NSF-certified water filter that's specifically designed to reduce lead.
Moving on to Section 2, who pays for broken pipes? Defining the line in the sand for liability.
So let's look at how the responsibility is split. On the left side, we have the utilities' responsibility. They are totally on the hook for maintaining those massive public water mains under the streets and the actual water meter itself. But take a look at the right side. This is the homeowner's responsibility. That specific service line connecting your home to the meter, that's yours. If age, shifting soil, or corrosion causes that pipe to crack and flood your front lawn, the sudden reality of that emergency falls squarely on your shoulders. It is so vital to dispel this common myth that the city will just magically come fix any pipe that breaks on your property. They won't.
And that brings us to this honestly shocking number, $8,500. That is the potential reality of a massive out-of-pocket pipe repair. So to help prevent these huge financial hits, utilities sometimes partner with outside groups. For example, the Truckee Meadows Water Authority, or TMWA, partner with Service Line Warranties of America to offer homeowners some optional exterior coverage. For just $5.75 a month, homeowners can secure up to $8,500 per service call for covered water service line repairs. It's really a prime example of how just understanding your own liability allows you to proactively protect your wallet.
All right, Section 3, teaming up for efficiency.
Let's go behind the scenes of a utility mega-merger.
Check out this massive, multi-year bureaucratic effort to consolidate Washoe County utilities. I mean, this wasn't something that just happened overnight. It started way back in 2008 with a basic evaluation. Fast forward through years of complex proposals, due diligence, and endless board meetings all the way up to March and October of 2014 when the formal approvals finally went through. By New Year's Eve 2014, they officially combined multiple sprawling regional water and improvement districts into one single efficient entity. This whole massive puzzle successfully brought over 22,000 customers under one single roof. And the whole point? To achieve a lower cost of service and way better resource management, all without a single negative impact on the customer's daily tap water.
Now for Section 4, Decoding Your Water Bill. Realignments and rate tiers explained. We all know the feeling. Nobody likes getting a confusing, bureaucratic letter from their utility company, and a notice about a quote-unquote billing cycle realignment is definitely enough to make anyone panic about getting double charged. But let's decode what's actually happening here. The utility realized their bills were reflecting meter reads from months prior. To fix this and align the meter read dates with the actual billing cycles, they temporarily sent out bills just 2 weeks apart. But why? Well, because getting real-time data to customers is absolutely essential to detecting sudden spikes in usage, which is the #1 indicator of a hidden water leak. So that temporary headache in your mailbox actually translates to much better leak detection for your own home.
And this kind of confusion extends right into the actual rates you pay. Just look at this tier structure for Spring Creek customers. The crucial thing here is understanding these usage brackets. Tier 1 gives you a nice base rate for 0 to 5,000 gallons. But look at Tier 2. It dramatically jumps from 5,001 all the way up to 99,999 gallons. To put that in perspective, the average winter usage for these customers is around 4,500 gallons, so they're safely inside Tier 1. But average summer usage, thanks to irrigation and sprinklers, that spikes to a whopping 23,000 gallons. That means the absolute moment summer hits, perfectly normal consumer habits effortlessly push them straight out of Tier 1 and deep into that much more expensive Tier 2 bracket. Decoding this table is really the only way to understand why your July bill looks literally nothing like your January bill.
And finally, Section 5, Smart Conservation and Rules, Protecting Our Shared Resources. You know, a lot of the time, we tend to think of conservation as just a polite suggestion, like remember to turn off the tap while you're brushing your teeth. But in places dealing with extreme water management, conservation isn't just a suggestion. It is strictly legislated law. Look at these rules from the Las Vegas Valley Water District. City and county ordinances legally restrict the use of water for decorative features. If you live in a single-family home there, your fountain or water feature can only have a surface area of 10 square feet or less. Anything larger than that is outright prohibited unless the whole shebang is entirely indoors. It just goes to show that everyday citizens are actively required by law to act as everyday stewards of their local water supply.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer today. We've uncovered the hidden dangers of lead pipes, we've defined exactly who pays when a service line breaks under your lawn, looked at the massive scale of utility consolidation, decoded the reality of summer billing tiers, and seen just how strictly conservation can be enforced. So, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Now that you know the hidden mechanics and the real financial realities flowing just beneath your feet, how do you plan to optimize your own water footprint today? Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.